Welcome, everyone. Today, I have one of my favorite people in the whole wide world. He doesn't know that, but I have Mr. David Emanitier here today, and we're going to talk about the one belief that separates millionaires from everyone else. So, right quick, I'll just give you a very brief overview. But if you want to figure out who David Emanitier is, you can Google him. He's one of the greatest to ever do it. Serial entrepreneur, has been a part of different countries. He's accumulated $3 billion in sales. He's created hundreds of millionaires worldwide. He has a portfolio of real estate, crypto, trading. I count all your money, not all of it, but super successful, and not just successful in his own right. He's assisted people with making millions of dollars and also $100,000 naires. I'll say it. So that's how he attributes his success. So welcome, David. How are you today?
Thank you, Christy. I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I'm phenomenal. I'm phenomenal.
Good
So
deal.
let's get this party talk started. So you've talked to a gazillion people. How long have you been an entrepreneur? It's
This
been
is
a while.
22 years. 22 years as an entrepreneur. So I started at 21, and obviously struggled for the first 5 years, and then I had my first breakthrough in 2009. That's when things really changed for me. So I started in 2004.
Okay. So you weren't always wealthy. You weren't born with a silver spoon in your mouth. Were you broke at one point, or like let's talk about it just a little bit.
Yeah, we definitely experienced that, like everybody does. I mean, anyone who's ever risen to success, that did it from the bottom, they get a chance to experience that, and they get a chance to actually grow out of that. So yes, it started off pretty rough at 21, but I think the biggest thing was I found a way to surround myself with the right people that could actually help me expand my vision, and help me see beyond the current situation that I was in at that time. So I would say that that's been a big, big, big part of the success that we've been able to create for ourselves and for other people as well.
So you've talked to a gazillion people in your business.
Mhm.
What do you think is the biggest difference between the people who succeed and the people who just run back to safety, as Bob Proctor talks about in the terror barrier? What's the biggest difference that you see?
There isn't really one difference. But if I had to pick one, it would be resilience. There's a certain level of resilience that winners have, that non-winners seem to, like you said, run back to what is safe for them to do. And that is a challenge that everybody's going to face. That is a wall that everybody's going to face in their lives. And sometimes you face it multiple times. But I would say it's resilience. But like I said, it's a lot of things. So you could say perseverance, you could say consistency, you can say a never die attitude, is what I would say separates people from winners from losers. Um, those are just a few of the things that I would say are the biggest difference, between winners and losers.
Okay, that's pretty much how I sum it up. Be like, you got to be a little crazy. I talked about it the other day. You have to be a little crazy to be an entrepreneur. We're delusional. It's almost
Mhm.
like you have to have that to stay in the game and not quit.
All right, all right. Yeah, I mean there's many times that I wanted to quit. All right, there's many times I wanted to throw in the towel and wanted to give up, but then I would wake up the next day and guess what? I would go at it again. So having that feeling is very normal. Every winner has that feeling. Trust me, it's never a time where a winner at some point during the journey doesn't feel like, is this going to be worth it? But you start off with that thought process of beginning with the end in mind. What is that end result that you're going after? What is that dream? What is that vision that God is giving you? And if you can constantly put that in front of you, it is going to give you the motivation to keep going. Are you there? It's like you're frozen. I think we're just going to wait on Christy to come back.
All right. Let's see.
Were you back?
My Wi-Fi is janky. It's, I got boxes. I'm sitting right beside it. It's island Wi-Fi. I'm sorry, y'all. So,
It's all right.
it's just like, what is going on? So we were talking about the resilience and people who quit, and it separates winners from losers. So why do you think making $1 million, before we even get to whatever, I just want to go straight to the million, because 441,000 people became millionaires last year. And I remember a quote in 2023 that I shared a lot, where they said the the number of millionaires that are going to increase worldwide is going to be 40% by 2026, and they said that in 2023, right? So 40% worldwide is going to be 40% increase in the number of millionaires by 2026, and so 441,000 people became millionaires last year in the U.S. alone. What do you think that why is it that some people just can't comprehend making $1 million? Why do you think it's so hard for some people?
Well, that's one way of asking it, right? I think a better way to ask it would be, what is contributing to the amount of people becoming millionaires? Because if I focus my energy on what's actually contributing to it, and then I can focus my energy on actually doing what they're doing, then guess what? I could possibly step into that realm as well. I think right now the speed in which people are able to express, show their value to the masses, it's what's allowed a lot of people that may not be as skilled. Coming up, you had to be really skilled at what it is that you were doing to become a millionaire in anything. You had to be the very best of the best. Well, because today the numbers game, you're able to play the numbers game at such a high level, utilizing social media, utilizing the internet, and all of the different tools now with artificial intelligence, all the different tools that are out there. It's made it so simple for someone to be consistent with putting out their value through the content. It's now given them an ability to create cash flow, and it's created a lot of millionaires. So I think for someone who's watching this right now, says, "Hey, listen, my goal is to earn $1 million this year." Is okay. What do I have of value that I can give to the world? And then what systems am I going to use to get that value out there, so enough eyeballs and enough ears and enough hearts can hear and see and feel what it is that I have for them to make a purchase from me.
Okay, let's talk about belief. You're the king of belief. I like to talk about vision, but you need vision and you need belief.
All right.
So let's talk about belief in the you touched on it earlier, like why, right? Is it the conditioning from our parents? Like, what are some of the hurdles that people need to come through or get over when it comes to belief? And then how did you break through some of the limiting beliefs that you may have had early in your entrepreneurship days?
Yeah. See, belief is, I would say the first thing I would really to decide really what belief is. A belief is a state. It's a state that you find yourself in. And because belief is really a feeling. It's a feeling that a person actually has. And if you look at the word be, it stands for to exist, right? That's what it actually stands. That's what it means. The word lief means to be glad. So when someone is in a state of belief, what they're basically saying is, I'm in a state of being glad. I'm in a state of being actually happy. When a person is in a state of unbelief, it's the complete opposite. They are what? They're sad, they're depressed, they're frustrated, they're angry. And the key thing is, how do I maintain a high level of belief regardless of the circumstances that you may currently find yourself in? All right. If you ask me again, what's another difference between winners and losers? Is that winners still find a way to stay in a state of belief even when all hell is breaking loose around them. Right. So the biggest belief that we have, it wasn't even one that we created. It was one that was given to us. All right. Your name is your biggest belief. No one can convince you that your name is not your name. Your name is Christy. You know that. It's been your name. How old are you now? 25? Right. So it's been your name forever. Right. So for 25 years, you've heard that. So the question is, how do I install the belief for becoming a millionaire or the belief for becoming successful, how can I install that level of belief? Well, it's all going to start with what it is that I'm hearing, right? Your voice is the loudest voice, right? That inner voice, that's the loudest voice, because that voice is with you 24/7, and it never stops talking to you. So that's going to be number one. What are you telling yourself over and over and over again? Your name was said to you before you even knew it was your name. It was said to you thousands of times. And then one day you realize, oh, that is my name. All right. And then you started writing these letters. All right. You started learning your ABCs. And one of the first words that you wrote down, more than likely, was your name. So now there was an image to go with what it is that you were saying. And then there were these emotions that were created with your name. When you got in trouble, your name was said a certain way. When you did well in school, your name was said a certain way. So now there was an emotional connection to your name. So now over the years, what I've learned to do and taught other people to do is taking that same process of words, images, and emotions and apply it to whatever goal it is that you currently have for yourself. And that's how it works.
When we talk about making money, some people are just terrified. They resist it. They just say, I don't need that much. And then I call them selfish, because there are people, in my opinion, and that's just me, there are people who need, if we have the capacity to become wealthy, then you should, so you can give the money away. Mm-hmm. And be bougie. So if you're saying that, I don't need that much, you're only thinking about your household. You're not thinking about your family. You're not thinking about the community. You're not thinking about like what good you could do in the world. So many people have an unhealthy relationship with money. And I sent you a video a couple of weeks ago with Reverend Knight. That was 50 years ago.
Incredible.
People didn't trust this man sitting on stage, stone cold. I loved it. It was just like, and
way before his time, for sure.
Way before his time. So 50 years ago, people didn't trust wealthy people. People didn't trust wealthy people of color, and they didn't trust a wealthy black man, right? Like, and so here we are 50 years later. It's the same thing. So what thoughts do you have for people with regards to having a better relationship with money? Or maybe the better question is, why don't people have a healthy relationship with money?
Honestly, I don't think it has anything to do with money. I think it has everything to do with their identity of really how they see themselves. When someone says that, what they're basically saying is, I have a fear of failure. I have a fear of actually going for something. So I would rather say I don't want it versus actually going for it, and maybe it doesn't work, maybe it does work. So I'd rather not take the journey, because it's a world of uncertainty. When you step into entrepreneurship, you start a business, whatever it is, it's a lot of uncertainty. So people like certainty. They want to go for what is guaranteed. I know that I'm going to get paid every week or every 2 weeks. If I just do the bare minimum, I'll keep my job, and they're okay with that. So when you talk to someone like that, it's not really about the money. They want the money. It's just that they have a lack of the great identity that's needed to actually believe that they can actually go out there and accomplish their goals. And that's what, Reverend Ike was really talking about. He's really talking about your self-image. He's really talking about your way of thinking. Because if you could change your self-image, you could change the way you think, then you decide to go for things that the normal person wouldn't go for. But when someone says, "Well, I don't really need all that money," what they're basically saying is, "I don't want to go for it. I don't want to risk failing." Right? Because a lot of times people don't recover from failing too well. All right, so they'll rather just stay away from it.
You talked about this the other day, and I've read it. I don't know who wrote it, but actually, Mike Murdoch, he wrote it in the 7 Laws, and he says you can earn a mentor or you can pay one. Yeah. Right. So you talked earlier about mentors. Who have been some of your mentors, throughout your entrepreneurship journey? And what's one lesson that you've learned from all of them collectively, or maybe like the best lesson that you've learned?
Yeah, there are a few. And I like to break them down into really 3 areas. So I think you should have a spiritual mentor. I think you should have a physical example of what God can do in your life, and you can see it in the life of someone else that you have close proximity to. And then I also believe you need a mentor for your mind as well. So three people that would fit that category would be those categories would be Apostle Avi Hilliard from a spiritual standpoint. That gentleman taught me faith. And then I would say Holton Buggs, because Holton was the physical representation of what God said he was going to do in my life. I saw it in his life. All right. So when I first met him, I was driving a Malibu. He was driving a Bentley. I started to believe that, you know what, I could drive a Bentley too. I got in close proximity to him. It wasn't that I paid him to get in close proximity, but what I did do is I added value to his life. So I was in a position where I could produce revenue that obviously added value to his life, and because of that, he took me on as a mentor. So for those of you that are out there, I can tell you right now, there's absolutely no way you're going to achieve anything great without having someone in your life that has done what it is that you want to do. It skyrockets your belief system because now you know it's real. It's not something you're thinking might happen. You're actually seeing it happen for yourself. And then obviously someone that we both have followed for many, many years. He's gone home to be with the Lord now, Bob Proctor. Bob Proctor really taught about the mind and taught about your emotions. I remember when we were at the Matrix event together in Toronto years ago. I just watched how he moved. Bob was unbothered by anything. There was nothing that bothered him whatsoever. He seemed almost unhuman like in the way that he had really control over his emotions. I'll never forget we were having a conversation because I was actually going to have him come to Houston to do an event for me, and he had agreed to it. But I was working with a company at the time, and that company basically said, "Hey, listen, Bob, we're going to hire you to be the mentor for the company, but you can't work with any of the distributors in the company." And I was ticked off, and I was, I'm like yelling, right? And Bob is on the phone, and he's like, "David," he just like a couple. He's like, "David, it's okay." Like he was just he was so unbothered by anything. But those are the three guys that I would say made a huge difference in my life.
So let's talk about. I actually want to go back to that because I remember being at the Matrix. It was 2019. I was fresh out of my burnout, fresh out of the mess that I had created for myself, which is okay. I talk about that all the time. And I remember sitting at the table with you, and you were unbothered, and I
Mhm.
was, you said, Christy, you remember we were sitting at the table because what I don't like is to be around mediocre people who think they the ish. That right there sends me to the moon. I was a leader before I so and you I know you were sitting beside me looking at me because I'm becoming unglued, and you were like, Christy, you can't let what's going on the outside affect what's going on the inside.
Mhm.
So as we're looking at how the world has evolved with people who are they call it being emotionally dysregulated. I don't know if you hear those terms, if you just see it on if I just see it on LinkedIn, like
Mhm.
the people who are allowing, because the world is going to do what the world is doing. And so we have the people who are focused on where they're going, and the people who, like Jim Rome said, are letting the outside circumstances control their life. So what advice do you have for people on how to calm down and not be emotionally dysregulated when the world is coming at them?
Yeah, I mean it's challenging. I mean that I'm not. I first thing I want to acknowledge. I would want to acknowledge that person and let them know that I completely understand why that is a problem. Okay. Now the next question would be is how long do you want to stay in that state? Right. I acknowledge the state that you're in right now because I don't know. I don't know what you've gone through. Some people may be dealing with a death in the family. Some people may be dealing with a relationship challenge in their life. Some people may be dealing with the financial challenge, maybe the greatest financial challenge they've ever had in their lives. So you never really know. So the first thing I would do if I was sitting down with someone is first thing I would do is acknowledge why they feel the way that they feel. The second thing I would say is, well, how long do you want to stay there? Right? How long do you want to stay in this state? Because obviously staying in this state is not going to change anything. All right. You know that. I know that. So that's the second thing. Now, that person tells me, you know what? I want to get out the state as quickly as possible. Okay. Well, What is it that we can work on every single day that will help you on this journey? And the key thing I would say is let's go back to what your spirit man needs. So your spirit man is going to need prayer. It's going to need worship. It's going to need praise. It's going to need meditation, and it's going to need faith. Those are going to be the five things that your spirit man is going to need in order to fight this battle that's happening in your mind right now. Does that make sense? And if you can do that on a consistent basis, you're going to have some good days, you're going to have some bad days. But if you can do that over a consistent basis over time, you will be able to get out of that situation. The key thing is to never, ever give up. Constantly taking action regardless of how you feel, is what winners do. Winners don't always take action because they feel great. They actually take action regardless of if they feel great or they don't. And over time, they find themselves in a place where they actually do feel great all the time. But it doesn't happen, overnight. It's something you really, really have to work on and really decide that you're going to do.
That's good. I was riding my bike this morning and bringing a situation that frustrated me yesterday with the bike ride. And I'm like, Christy, like really, like once you get to a different calibration point of energy, where it takes work, right? To unlayer the things. And then I became conscious of you're doing this. So I'm like trying to like wipe the energy off and come into the moment.
Does that work? You do
I was,
this?
I was like, oh, you gotta come into the moment. Just jump on somebody.
You're right.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
you know what? It's funny if you that could actually sell right now. If you created a course on doing this and doing this,
I
I
may
know.
do that. You may see that offer.
I know. I'm gonna laugh when I see it too. And people are gonna buy it too. Watch.
I have
Enough
to get
eyeballs
motivated.
see it. Enough ears hear it. They'll buy.
It's on. So let's
Hmm.
talk about I influence.
Yes.
The new mastermind is not is new to the world, but it's something that you've always been doing. So let's
Right.
talk about the I influence sales system that you created, the speak framework, and then why you created and what you're looking to achieve with that.
Yeah. I've been coaching and mentoring now. I would say really for the last 16 years is because I went through my challenges my first 5 years. So the last 16 years coaching and mentoring countless amount of people around the world that have gone on to earn six, seven, some even eight figures in their industry. And what I wanted to do was create a platform where people could actually learn. All right, they could actually apply, they can actually model, and then they can also become a teacher. So those four phases is what I influence is all about. The I is working on people's identity, working on their belief system, working on their mentality, working on the emotional state that they're in. With that type of identity being who God has created you to be, now you have the ability to influence. Now you have the ability to lead, the ability to develop other individuals, other entrepreneurs. And then the sales part is really how we monetize your identity, how we monetize your influence. And we're going to utilize social media. We're going to utilize, artificial intelligence. We're going to utilize you, all right? Because people are going to buy you. They're not just going to buy your product or your service or your course. They're really going to buy who it is that you are. So this platform really has two tracks. You can be a part of our mastermind where we meet once a week. I do a training on there, do a Q&A on a varied amount of different topics that are centered around identity, influence, and sales and communication. And then I also do private coaching, one-on-one coaching, where now I take a deep dive into your specific business, and we create an entire game plan to actually help you scale and grow that business. Yes, we're going to continue to work on your identity. We'll continue to work on your influence, growing your influence. But now you're basically hiring me as a partner to actually work with you to help you build that particular business.
And who do you think that or what's your aim? What's your target market? Like who would this be perfect for?
Yeah. So it's specifically for leaders. It's specifically for entrepreneurs, business owners, influencers. Maybe they're in network marketing. Maybe they're in real estate. It's for anyone who's looking to grow in the people business. All right. So if you're a leader, you're looking to grow when it comes to people. You're an influencer, you're looking to grow when it comes to people. You are in network marketing, you're in some sort of sales, affiliate marketing. You're having to communicate with people, you're having to lead people. That's who this mastermind is for. That's what this platform is for. And people can go right to the site right now and they can actually create a free account. So I actually made it free for people to actually be a part of it, and every single month I do a free masterclass in there that they get. Now, if they want to get close proximity with myself, there are different levels that they can actually do that. They can become an accelerator member with us. They can become an achiever member with us. And then if they want to have access to myself, they can become a partner with me as well.
When I think about influence, and somebody put a comment on my post yesterday when I was talking about something, and she was like, just saying that you're almost there will beat confidence any day. And I was like, nobody trusts a leader who's not confident, period. Lady, AI must have wrote that. Clearly, AI wrote that, because you can't believe that, when I think about confidence, for me, confidence is just awareness. And so people are working and they're doing and they're running into brick walls and then they're burning themselves out. But the book was called Think and Grow Rich, or it is called Think and Grow Rich. And so it's the mindset, it's the identity shift. And it's really about taking accountability and ownership of how great you already are, and then what God has said about you, and then creating that identity and influence. So what's one um thing that somebody can do if they're not confident in themselves? What's an action that they could take today?
Yeah. I would say get that's what I would say. I would say get into iinfluencesales.com, because what you have to do is you have to surround yourself with other people that are confident. That's association is so critical right now. If you're lacking confidence right now, I was texting one of the students that just got started with us, and I said, you have to detox yourself from your thoughts right now. Your thoughts are creating something that you don't want. So you have to do a detox and surround yourself with people that are where it is that you want to be, right? Surround yourself in an environment that can be uplifting to you, right? So confidence is something that you have to work on. Confidence is an ability. It's not something you're just born with. It's an ability that you have to actually work on every single day. And one of the ways to do that is through associations. And that's why we created the mastermind. So you can surround yourself with like-minded people that are where it is that you want to go. You can learn a different language. You can learn a different way of speaking that will now turn your life around as well.
All right, last question, because I know we got 2 minutes, maybe 45 seconds. What advice do you have for people who, because I'm in the mastermind, because I need proximity, I'm trying to beat the brakes off of life. It's going to be great. What
Right.
advice do you have for people who are stuck at like the $1 million level? What have you seen has been the breakthrough from the 7-figure level to like the 8-figure level? What do they need different?
I actually have a training on this. One of the students that is a partner that has the private coaching, I actually taught him this. We had a lesson on this the other day. The first thing you want to do is take the focus off of you. To become a millionaire, it's all about your production, right? I really do believe that. You can become a millionaire on your own production. But when you are looking to get to 8 figures, it's all about duplication. How can I duplicate who it is that I am? So it's a different way of thinking where the focus is not just on you and your income. Now you're thinking, how many other leaders can I develop to do what it is that I do? So John C. Maxwell talks about the 5 levels of leadership. A production-based leader can become a millionaire because now you have the ability to produce and you can make money that way. But level 4 is a personal self-development leader. Now you have the ability to reproduce yourself. It's kind of like the franchise owner. If I owned one McDonald's, I would be very, very successful, but I wouldn't be as successful as the person that owned 10 McDonald's franchise or the person that owned 100 McDonald's. So how can I become a franchise? Right? How can Christy, how can David become a franchise where now I have franchisees all around the world that can do what it is that I do, and I just earn a small percentage of what it is that they do. That's how you get to the 8-figure mark, developing other leaders.
I'm on my way. We're already doing that. All right. Mr. Minite, I appreciate your time. I know we got to jump. So,
Absolutely.
y'all, iinfluencesales.com. If y'all have any questions, y'all go put them in the chat and we will answer them. Bye,
All right.
y'all.